America. Senator Kaine, it's a pleasure to be here with you,
Alberto.
as usual.
Always good, thanks.
So, talking about American values, I hear bigotry, hostility.
Yeah.
What's going on in American politics?
Well, bluntly, I think our president has opened a Pandora's box and made it acceptable to say things that were not acceptable to say. I don't think he's created ill will or bigotry or animus, but he's allowed it to be expressed in a way that it was thought we were kind of trying to beat it down and move beyond it. Mm-hmm. Most tragically in Virginia a year ago, when we saw that horrible white supremacist rally in Charlottesville. A young paralegal was killed, 2 state troopers, both of whom I knew because they both did work with the governor's detail. Mm-hmm. They lost their lives, others were injured, and our president basically said, well, there's good people on both sides. No, there isn't. Bigotry is wrong and division is wrong. Right. And so it puts a burden, Alberto, and look, it might be a white supremacist rally. It might be words of odio contra inmigrantes or Muslims. I mean, it's just a nonstop assault, and it puts a burden on the shoulders of those of us who believe in that Pledge of Allegiance, those last 2 words, for all. We're a nation for all, and if we're not for all, then we're not true to ourselves. It puts more of a burden on our shoulders to speak that way, act that way, live that way.
Usted se ha definido como un constructor de puentes, like a builder. A bridge builder.
Bridge builder. Mm-hmm.
And you said that to me many interviews ago. Mm-hmm. But in this environment, en este ambiente político, ¿cómo se pueden construir puentes entre estos mundos tan separados?
Es un poco difícil, pero aquí en el Senado tengo gran colegas en los dos lados. No en todos los asuntos, ¿verdad? Healthcare es difícil, otros asuntos son difíciles, pero es fácil hallar colegas en Virginia. Siempre estoy viajando en cualquier parte del estado and when I'm talking to Republicans or I'm talking to folks, it may be a part of the state where como candidato yo recibí 25% de los votantes, pero you can find things to work on together. Right. I would say the area where it's most difficult now, but not impossible, working with the White House.
Se necesita recuperar el humanismo en la política estadounidense. Mm-hmm. You are a politician that, according to me, embodies public service. I mean, I've been following your career, and anybody can check your career. You started as a council member, mayor of Richmond, lieutenant governor of Virginia, governor of Virginia, now senator, almost vice president of the United States. We'll talk about that too. But how do we recover humanism in American politics?
I remember when I was thinking about running for the Senate, Alberto, I asked John Warner for advice. And he told me, he said, look, it's not as good as it used to be. It used to be we worked so much closely together than we do now. He said, but it is not sick building syndrome, and it's not in the water supply. It's just in the inclinations of, la gente que entran en las puertas de la capital cada día. I generally am able to keep disagreements. We might disagree about policy. That doesn't mean we can't be friends. That doesn't mean I can't respect you for having a different point of view. We need to model that.
One of the things that you do good is playing the harmonica with your political enemies.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I don't call them my enemies, but on the other side, I play music a lot. All over the state with people, and including my best concert in the last year was in Bristol. Senator Lamar Alexander de Tennessee es un gran piano, ¿qué es la
pianista?
Pianista, es un gran pianista desde sus primeros días, como niño, era tocando el piano, entonces él y yo tuvimos una banda en Bristol, tuvimos este concierto con un gran grupo de gente.
¿Y cómo reacciona la gente? ¿Cómo reacciona la gente que está acostumbrada a ver a políticos enfrentados, a políticos discutiendo? ¿Cómo reacciona cuando están en un escenario haciendo música?
Pues no somos profesionales en música, pero la gente...
Pero ¿qué quiere decir? ¿Que son malos?
No somos malos, somos fanáticos, ¿verdad? Amateurs, pero amateurs con entusiasmo. And tocando la música de la región, música de la Carter Family o Hank Williams o otros, gospel music. Y hay un gran grupo de casi 2,000 gente en este concierto, y ellos estaban bien contentos a ver sus senadores de Tennessee y Virginia, 2 estados, republicano-demócrata, tocando juntos.
But there is a real national crisis in this country, and it's called healthcare.
Yeah.
So, the Affordable Care Act is being challenged by Republicans, by the White House, by attorney generals of the nation, throughout the nation, and they are challenging something like the protection for people with pre-existing conditions, and they are calling that unconstitutional.
Yeah, they are.
Senator, being sick in this country can be unconstitutional.
Yeah.
In Virginia, you have about 1 million, 1.3 million people with pre-existing conditions. What can you do about it?
Well, just to tell the story, you're right, Alberto. Nationally, there's probably 140 million Americans who have some kind of a pre-existing condition that in the past, before the Affordable Care Act, an insurance company could have said, we won't write you a policy.
Right.
I had this experience myself. My family is very healthy. We were trying to get an insurance policy in 2011. 5 family members, mom and dad and 3 kids. The only hospitalizations had been for 3 childbirths, very healthy family. But we got turned down by 2 companies. Once they wouldn't write a policy on me, once they wouldn't write a policy on one of my children, pre-existing condition. And my wife was able to say, well, wait a minute, since the Affordable Care Act passed last year, that's against the law now. Well, no, it's not. Well, let me speak to your supervisor. And the supervisor had to say, you're right, we're wrong, we'll write you a policy. This 140 million people, were in that category. And the Republicans, attorney generals from about 20 states have a lawsuit going right now to try to strike down the pre-existing condition protection, and some other pieces of the law is unconstitutional. We have to fight against that at all costs. The administration, as you pointed out, is engaged in sabotage. For 10 months, they tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act. They couldn't get the votes to do it. So now it's an administration undercutting various aspects of the law, refusing to enforce it. When the lawsuit's filed, they won't defend the law in court. So look, there is a pitched battle to try to repeal it. As a member of the Health Committee, I am trying all I can, porque en Obamacare mucha gente han recibido cobertura, seguro de salud para la primera vez en su vida, y especialmente la comunidad latina. El porciento de la gente latina que no tenía seguro de salud ha bajado bastante, y no es perfecto, la ley no es perfecto, necesitamos mejorar y avanzar, pero va a ser un gran desastre para terminar la ley ahorita.
Usted ha hablado español hace pocos años en una sesión del Senado sobre el tema de inmigración, sobre la necesidad de una reforma migratoria integral.
Creo que es apropiado que tome unos pocos minutos para explicar la legislación en español. Un lenguaje que ha sido hablado en este país desde que misioneros españoles fundaron a San Agustín, Florida, en 1565. El español también es hablado hoy por casi 40 millones de americanos, con mucho invertido en el resultado de este debate.
Usted es tremendamente sensible al tema hispano, pero no como algo ajeno, extraño, exterior, sino como parte, y siempre lo dice usted, como parte de la realidad estadounidense.
Claro.
Lo que a mí me gusta llamarle hispanounidense. Háblenos de la necesidad de esa comunidad hispanounidense, de la necesidad de movilizarse, de votar, de tener lo que se llama en inglés civic engagement.
No, es bien importante. En Virginia, la comunidad latina puede ser la diferencia en cada elección. Ese grupo de latinos, votantes latinos, 7-8% de cada elección puede cambiar la diferencia. Y es importante ahorita, especialmente porque necesitamos una reforma integral de inmigración y solo faltamos 8 o 10 votos en la Casa de Representantes. Tenemos los votos en el Senado todavía. Tuvimos una reforma integral en 2013 con casi 70 votos, un acuerdo bipartidista. Yo creo en noviembre es posible que los demócratas van a tomar la mayoría en la Casa de Representantes. Y si hacemos eso, yo creo va a ser casi inmediatamente en enero o febrero un propuesto de ley en la Casa y pasando al Senado, tenemos los votos en el Senado todavía, va a ser una batalla con el presidente, El presidente ha dicho muchas veces que él voy a veto algo, pero he hasn't vetoed one thing yet. So si el Congreso puede tener un acuerdo bipartidista y tomar en su escritorio, es posible que él puede firmar, él puede aceptar este acuerdo.
Why President Trump's petty actions and behavior in Moscow, for example, that is below the stature of the office of the President of the United States, why that behavior is not impeachable?
I use a different I word, so my word is investigation. The investigation that Director Mueller and the intelligence committees are doing right now, we have to get to the end of it. So there are Democrats in the House, Alberto, as you know, who have filed articles of impeachment already. But I think the investigation is the first priority because it is an investigation about criminal culpability of individuals, but it is also to try to understand the entire story of what the nation of Russia did to attack our elections. So I wouldn't want to jump to a conclusion, an impeachment proceeding or anything else before the entire investigation is done.
The president of this nation is able to put pressure on football players.
Yeah.
Why
peacefully protesting?
Why Congress can't put pressure on the president of the United States?
No, that's a fair question. But even under two Republican houses, this president is under a lot of pressure. If you look at his behavior, if you look at his tweets, if you look at his desperation, the performance in Helsinki with President Putin was sort of at the bottom because when given a choice, do you believe hardworking Americans who are protecting our security, our entire intelligence community, or Vladimir Putin? He sided with Vladimir Putin. And then the word, coming out of Helsinki was, on the Russian side, they're saying, well, we reached agreement with the president on some military issues. And then you have American military leaders say, well, we don't know what this is. So is he siding with Russians on military issues rather than our military leadership? I mean, obviously, these are some very, very big issues right now.
We need to finish this conversation, but very quickly. I know it's impossible. You're a politician. It's impossible to get a short answer. But give me one lesson you learned from your Clinton-Kaine campaign.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple, but I'll try to make them short. Go to the places not only that you want to win, go to the places you know you will lose so you don't lose really badly. That's one. Democrats have to be much crisper and clearer on our economic message. And I was a governor. We were best state for business all 4 years. We had great economic track record, but our message has to be much clearer. Some are saying, well, the Democrats are too interested in political correctness or identity politics. And I always say, no, you got it wrong. We're interested in equality. That's the North Star for our country. Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, a nation dedicated to the proposition, just one, that we're created equal. And so some are saying to Democrats, skip all the outreach, don't focus so much on inclusion. That would be a big mistake. So yeah, go where you'll lose so you won't lose badly. Crisper economic message, never back off on our North Star, the equality principle.
I'm seeing a lot of disruption in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I'm seeing new politicians trying to make it and break the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Is the Democratic Party under a crisis somehow? Is it November a make it or break it for this Democratic Party?
Well, in some ways, no, I think it is, but maybe for a different reason than you're asking. I think we have to send a strong message in November that we are coming back, not just as a party, but as a people committed to equality, to those for all values. We have to. It's a make or break election in terms of showing who our values are. Here's what I like. In Virginia last year, we had a Democratic energy that not only swept the statewide offices, we won more seats, Alberto, in our legislature than we had in any year since 1872. The seats that we won, Latino American, African American, Muslim American, Asian American, LGBT, transgendered, immigrant born, the people who won, many of whom were first-time candidates, many of whom were young, they hadn't necessarily been courted to run. Some of them had been told, you probably can't win. Right. Some of them had been told, you're really good, but in this district, you probably can't win. And all these people said, yeah, but we're running anyway. And then we had this great success. So I think I think the National Democratic Party needs to understand is when there's energy out there, don't view it as a threat. Just, view it as, wow, I'm so glad the energy's on our side. And I think I think we'll see the same thing in November nationally.
How is your wife and the kids?
Anna's great. Mi esposa es un profesor de educación en George Mason. Uno o dos días cada semana aquí. Vivimos en Richmond todavía, and she works on the State Board of Education. I have a boy in the Marine. I have a boy who's a child care worker and visual artist, Woody, and I have a daughter who's an actress in New York, which means she's a waitress and works at the front desk in the theater and auditions all the time.
Okay.
But they're all doing well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's finish with a couple of wishes, short.
Yeah.
A wish for Virginia.
That we just continue on the arc. We're on an arc of progress from socially exclusive to much more inclusive, politically non-competitive to more competitive, economically sluggish, more dynamic, very native to much more international. Let's continue that arc and not make a misstep and go backwards.
Un deseo para Tim Kaine, el político.
Pues quiero avanzar en el Senado. Después de 6 años, tengo más entendimiento que es la manera para tener éxito en propuestos que quiero hacer. Quiero ser un parte de reforma de inmigración. Quiero ser un parte de una reforma de violencia de armas. Quiero avanzar en el asunto de educación. Entonces tengo algunos asuntos bien importantes a mí. Tengo más entendimiento ahorita cómo hacer las cosas importantes aquí.
A wish for the USA?
I don't think our president is manifesting who we are as a people. And so I want Americans and I want everybody to know that we are, again, that Pledge of Allegiance. I love the fact that the last words are for all. It would have been a good pledge to end up with liberty and justice, period, but it's got to be for all. And if it's not for all, then we're not living up to what we say about ourselves. And I don't think the president sets this message that we're for all. So I hope in elections and in what we do and how we speak and how we treat each other, we can send a message not only to ourselves, but to everybody that America is still a for-all place.
Senador Tim Kaine, muchas gracias.
Okay, mil gracias, Alberto. That's underlying the theme of our interview, right?
Thank you.
This land is your land. This land is made for you and me.
It is. Thank you very much. It's an honor as usual.
Thank you, Alberto. I really appreciate it. Thanks.